Alright, hello everybody, what's happening? Welcome back to another video. Match preview of the very first game of La Liga. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know whether to be happy, to be sad, to be, I don't even know what to feel actually, to be honest. Just because at this point I'm feeling a little bit fearful of our season. And maybe it's early days, but what I have to say is how I really didn't see much positivity in the preseason. I couldn't get any positivity out of preseason. But anyways, look, what we can say about preseason that the results in preseason doesn't necessarily, we can't extrapolate that the results in preseason will kind of permeate into next season. Or in preseason will necessarily go into the season. Preseason is usually just to get the players' fitness up. To try to help the team's understanding, help the team's cohesiveness. Obviously, new signings help the team amalgamate in that sense. But Real Madrid versus Celta de Vigo. That's going to be taking place on Saturday, and of course, depending on the time zones, sometimes it's different. It's going to be a good game to be honest. Do I think Real Madrid are going to win? I think we're going to win. I think Real Madrid are going to win this game. I think it's definitely possible that Real Madrid might not win this game just because Celta de Vigo, and it is away, and it could be difficult for us. They're going to make life difficult for us for sure. So it's definitely a possibility that we might not win. But I still think we're going to win. I went with these dispositions here, or on this side. So these are the dispositions that I'm thinking that Zinedine Zidane will want to line up with. Let's see here. So I think it's going to be a 3-5-2, and the reason I say that is just because I was thinking of a 4-3-3 at the beginning. That's what I was thinking, that Zidane, he's going to go back to his 4-3-3. He loves the 4-3-3. It's the kind of the comfort zone. But as I was thinking about it, Carvajal is suspended, and then you got Mendy who's injured. So defensively, we're not very sound. If we got Marcelo and Odriozola on the flanks as a 4-3-3, then you're left, essentially, I wouldn't say with two, center backs or two defenders, but Marcelo and Odriozola are players that like to go up a lot, and defensively they can be a bit shaky. So that's why I went with the 3-5-2, because the fullbacks are a little bit shaky. Hey, Jonas, what's up? What's happening? Welcome to the stream. Manchester Madrid, what's up? Welcome. Thank you for being on. Jonas says this formation will fit Odriozola perfectly. Same here. I completely agree 100%. And then Jonas says he'll be able to focus more on attacking and contribute offensively. Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what Odriozola really is best at, is going, up the flank, kind of helping out in attack, putting in the crosses. He's like a Speedy Gonzalez, when I look at him run, it looks like a Speedy Gonzalez to me. So I think Odriozola, he fits this kind of system perfectly, and I think Marcelo fits this system perfectly, just because defensively, I wouldn't say that they don't have as much to do, but it does come down to that. They play more as wing backs, and they can attack more, But when it comes to the space down the wings, we did see that space was being exploited, just because, the other teams obviously know that Marcelo and Odriozola like to go up a lot, so obviously they're going to exploit on the wings. But you know what? If centrally we're sound, if centrally everything goes well, then there shouldn't be any reason why we should be conceding goals. Hey, Rihan, what's up? Welcome to the show today. Haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully everything's going well. Hey, Meds GB, what's up? What's happening? New person on the show. Welcome. Thank you for being on. And then Meds GB says, "Are you confident this year?" I am discouraged. I'm a bit discouraged, to be honest. It is the beginning of it is the beginning of the season, and of course we can't be. Like I said in the beginning, we can't extrapolate that. We can't extrapolate too much, and what I mean by that is that we can't think that the results in preseason are necessarily going to go into the season. They're usually two very, very different things. And we've seen preseasons that have been pretty abysmal in the past from Real Madrid under Zinedine Zidane, where we haven't. But yes, of course, this one was, I think, a lot worse than the other preseasons. There wasn't any signs of positivity, but what I have to say is that sometimes the results in preseason really are just there to help the players. Not the results, but what I mean is that the preseason is really to help the players, get fit, to help the players kind of, work as a unit, to help them amalgamate and things along those lines. Mohsen, hey, what's up, David, my dude? What's up, Mohsen? Got the name right today. Sorry about that. I'm working on it as always. Had your notifications on today. Thank you so much, Mohsen. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, like I said, the schedule is a bit, convoluted. What I mean by that, it's just a bit confusing, the schedule. And I try to make it in sorts so that I try to go on the same time almost every evening. But sometimes there will be times where I won't be able to just because of work. Of course, hopefully, I hope to make something like this. I'm not going to say full time, but I hope that something like YouTube can sustain me one day. But as of right now, not yet. I'm nowhere near there. But the channel is growing, of course, and I'll just see what happens. Manchester Madrid says they lost Buffal and Maxi Gomez. I know Buffal, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was La Liga's best dribbler, so he's definitely a loss to Celta de Vigo. I think he went back to Southampton, if I'm not mistaken, and he looks like a great player, and it's that's a great player that they lost, and that's good that they don't have him. And Maxi Gomez, I think he went to Valencia, if I'm not mistaken, so that's another player that was very good. I believe he scored 13 goals in La Liga last season, so another good player that went. So they obviously lost a few key players, but what I have to say, they still have Iago Aspas, who's a very good player. Of course, I think he's 30 now, or 29 or something along those lines, so he is a little bit older, but he gets a lot of goals. I believe last season it was 20 goals that he got for Celta de Vigo. Despite their dismal season, 20 goals is a very good return. So Iago Aspas is someone we have to look out for. You have Sisto, who's a creative kind of playmaker. I would say not a playmaker. He's a creative kind of winger. He gets a lot of assists. So Sisto's another one. And I believe Celta de Vigo got Santi Mina back from Valencia. Valencia basically just gave him away on a free. Celta de Vigo were able to get him back. After scoring his poker, I think a few years ago, I thought that Santi Mina was going to be the next big thing, but he hasn't really lived up to expectations, and I just think that the jump from Celta de Vigo to Valencia was too big. Motion says, what are your expectations for the game? I'm not expecting too much, but I would say that we're going to concede one goal. I don't think it's going to be any more than that. If we do score, I think it's going to be maybe 2. I'm going to say 2-1. I don't think we're going to score that many. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Obviously it's away, so it's going to be a very difficult game, and we'll just have to see. But for me, it's going to be 2-1. That's my prediction. I don't think we have too many goals on us. And the reason I say that is because you look at Benzema. Benzema, yeah, he will score goals, but you just never know with Benzema. Hazard will score goals, but that'll take time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to expect, to be honest. It is the first game, so we'll have to see. Rihan says, I hope Hazard can deliver on his official debut. I hope so too, actually. Hazard is amazing, and we know he's got the quality in him, but he will come good, and if he doesn't score in his debut, he'll come good. Rihan says that he really needs that confidence to fit in as a Madrid player. Exactly. You're very right. And someone who needs that confidence is Jovic. Jovic, I feel, is lacking a little bit in confidence, but all these players will, they will come good in their due time. I think it just takes a little bit of time. That's only normal. It's like going into a new job, or going into a new anything new, in a new team. If you do play football, then going into a new team, you'll know that it takes some time to assimilate to a new team. So I really hope to see Hazard score at least one goal. Yeah, it'll do him some good. SGB says, do you think Neymar is coming to Real Madrid? Well, I did address that a little bit yesterday, and the thing I think with Neymar is that he wants to go to Barcelona, and the situation right now is that Barcelona, obviously, they're huge debt that they've amassed throughout the years, and Real Madrid, of course, a lot less than Barcelona in terms of that. But I think Neymar wants to go to Barcelona, and I think at the moment what PSG obviously want to sell him. I think they will sell him. I think what's going on is that Barcelona are they're testing the waters. They want to see what's really going to happen, or they really want to see where PSG can take this, and so they offered, I think, a few players and then 100 million. If I'm not mistaken, I think they offered Coutinho and 100 million. I'm not even sure. I think it's Coutinho and some money, and PSG didn't take it. But I think as time goes by, PSG will relinquish that power. They'll give up that power, and Barcelona will be more. They'll have the power on their side because Neymar will want the move, and PSG will just have to give him up for essentially whatever. So I think he's going to move to Barcelona, but I think Neymar to Madrid is a possibility if Neymar to Barcelona is not feasible. So we'll have to see. I think it's going to take a couple weeks still, but I think the Neymar one, it's going to last all throughout till the end of the transfer window. I think that's really what's going to happen. Mohsen said it's currently 1:30 a.m. here. I was watching UFC. Nice, embedded, and then got your notification. Thanks for being on, Mohsen. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everyone for being on. As I can see it, the channel's growing, and it's kind of nice. Like I said, I know the channel has potential. It's just about me putting in a little bit of work and trying to, progress the channel. And I know that people here have seen the channel progress, bit by bit. I know Rihan was one that was with me since a while now, and he's probably seen the channel grow a bit. So I'm always trying to make the channel grow. I know it'll grow for sure. It's just I just have to put in the time, really. And Molson says I'll be with you along on your journey. Thanks so much. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm so humbled by all the support that I get. Mohsen Hamid says, have you heard of the Spanish TV show El Chiringuito? Yeah, I have. I do watch it sometimes, and I have to say it's pretty funny, especially I think his name is Thomas Roncero. He's quite a character, this guy, and he's pretty funny. I have to say I do like him. Real Madrid fan, welcome to the channel. Thank you for being on, or welcome to the stream, I should say. Thanks for being on. I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully everything's going well. Mets JB says thanks. Yeah, thank you. Real Madrid fan says, I heard El Chiringuito that Pogba may come. Yeah, I think Real Madrid are still in for Paul Pogba. I think the reason that is because Zinedine Zidane really, really, really wants Paul Pogba. And so with that being said, I think Real Madrid will still continue being in for him. I just think Florentino Perez really doesn't rate Pogba that much, and he's not in that as much. At the end of the day, Florentino Perez has the power to make the transfers happen. Zinedine Zidane obviously wants Pogba at the club, but Florentino Perez doesn't really fancy Paul Pogba, so I think that's why we're not really in for him. But Zinedine Zidane will be pushing for him, obviously, because Florentino Perez has made some reassurances to Zinedine Zidane. It's just about whether Florentino does, I'd say, keep his promises to Zinedine Zidane, and we'll just have to see at the end of the transfer window. But yeah, I think we're still in for Paul Pogba. It's just about whether Florentino makes the move or not. Pogba has said the things he's needed to say. Obviously, with our abysmal preseason and with I would say it's not that Manchester United are building something, but I'm sure Pogba will have seen the situation at Manchester United that there seems to be a project there, and maybe Paul Pogba will buy into it. And maybe we should have just gotten Paul Pogba at the beginning of the transfer window. That would have been the easiest thing to do. But now at the situation, I really don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to see, I guess. Mohsen says, I would love Neymar at Madrid. Honestly, all the injuries and off-the-field antique society would be unbelievable. Me too. I've been Neymar, not antagonist or ouster, but how can I say this? I've been a Neymar hater, I guess you could say, not for the longest time. I'd say 2 years at least, ever since his time at PSG. Ever since, I would say, the time that he stole the ball from Cavani on his penalty, I've been a Neymar outer. I've been hating on Neymar. But what I have to say about Neymar is that he's a very, very, very good player, and if we can have him in the team, he would definitely consolidate our team. He would make us a lot better, and even though he's a selfish individual, even though he's the most cynical individual, what I have to say is that he would definitely help the team. Rihan says, your channel is one of my favorite football-related channels. It's very informative. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Rihan. No, seriously, I'm always humbled to see these comments, because, of course, sometimes I have my insecurities, sometimes the insecurities do pop up, I see some channels, I see, thousands of subscribers. I see, some channels, they grow so fast, I'm like, how do they do it? But, no, like I said, I'm always humbled to see those comments. So thank you for that, Rihan. Really appreciate it. Mohsen Hamid says they had Matias Pogba on the show tonight. He was saying Madrid are missing his brother in his team. Yeah, well, someone like Paul Pogba, for me, it would just be perfect for Real Madrid. I know he kind of goes in and out of games, and we've seen that a lot. And last game for Manchester United, what I saw from Paul Pogba is that, yeah, he only has a couple of good instances in his game, but I would say little episodes in his games where he does really good. But 2 assists in a game is good enough, And yeah, he does lose the ball, but. No, I think Paul Pogba is a world-class player, and I'd love him here at the club. Mohsen says, I think Perez would and has gone for Pogba, but the ridiculous price tag is making it unlikely. 150 million euros, Yeah, I mean, maybe at this point in time, I don't think we would be able to get him for that price tag. I think it's like 180 million or something along those lines. I think at this point, maybe Manchester United, I would say they do have a little bit more power than at the beginning of the transfer window. At the beginning of the transfer window is really when we should have gone for Paul Pogba a lot more, and we should have been more persistent. And I think at the moment we just, we're too late in that. And I think Pogba maybe, he's not as optimistic, about moving out to Real Madrid as he once was. So, we'll have to see, I guess. Can you blame him for not wanting to pay that much they're talking about? For Paul Pogba, I think 150 million would be good. 180 million, that's a lot. That's a lot for a player. 180 million, you could essentially get 3 midfielders and probably, help the team a lot more in that aspect. So you get maybe Van de Beek, I don't know, someone like Bruno Fernandes, and another midfielder, and that's 180 million euros. So maybe you could do something along those lines rather than getting for Paul Pogba. I know Paul Pogba is a world-class player. He's very good, but if you're going past the 150 million euro mark, I think that's a little bit too much. Mohsen says his only issue right now in terms of his form is that he plays for Manchester United. Exactly, I think that's what it is. I think he does get a lot at stake, and I think that partly comes down to the fact that he plays for Manchester United. And everyone who plays for Manchester United, you can see that their career has taken a trajectory that they did not expect. You look at Romelu Lukaku, he was a very, very good scorer for EPL. Obviously, yeah, he's not great against the top six, but in the seasons prior to the seasons in Manchester United, he was scoring 20-plus goals a season, in the EPL alone. And I think when he went to Manchester United, yes, in his first season he did good, but after that it was horrible. So you look at Alexis Sanchez. Another player, he was very good at Arsenal. Yeah, he was declining, but at Manchester United, it just declined really, really fast. A lot faster than a lot of people would have expected. And Anthony Martial is another one. Anthony Martial, a very, very talented player, but really hasn't gone as expected. So, everyone who plays for Manchester United, it's like their career it just takes a declivity. It just goes down the drain kind of. And Paul Pogba, I think, despite the situation that Manchester United are in, has done, I would say, fairly well. It's he is inconsistent, but with the players he has around him, I think that's only normal. Rehan says, for this match, I really want to see James back in the squad. When he was with us, especially in the 14 season, he was amazing. He is still a great talent. Yeah, James is a great talent. I mean, I don't think he'll be back. I think Zinedine Zidane just doesn't like him, and that's what happens. When Zinedine Zidane doesn't like you, he'll leave you out. But he could still come back. You just never know. Maybe he comes back. He has a lot better of an attitude, and hopefully he can prove Zinedine Zidane wrong. But Zidane's pretty stubborn when it comes to these kinds of things, and I don't know if we'll see him. But James is a great talent, and of course, we could do with a player like him, especially that Isco. I would say sometimes is up and down, and James is like you said, it's great talent. Jonas says Pogba is worth 50 million euro. I mean, I can understand why. He is a little inconsistent, and it's really up and down. It's hit or miss with Paul Pogba. But for me, I think the reason Paul Pogba is not doing so great is because, like I think Rehan was saying, or no, not Rehan, but I think like Mohsen was saying, he's at Manchester United. What can you do in that squad? It's like having a lot of bad employees around you and them not doing their work. Essentially, I mean, it's very difficult. It becomes very cumbersome to do your own work when the other employees around you are not doing their work all that well. I guess that's what I have to say about that. Real Madrid fan says Real Madrid last offer for Pogba was a joke. Exactly. Why? I don't know why we did that. That's not even testing the waters. That was just a joke, and we should have done a lot better than that. I mean, this is Real Madrid. It's not player in the third, or not a player, but a team in the third division. Mohsen says, I'm just curious why there was no indication of us signing him at the beginning. Yeah, me too. Especially everything that was coming out from Paul Pogba. It seemed like it was going to happen, and I don't understand why we didn't go for him at the beginning of the transfer window. It was kind of odd, I have to say. When we were linked with Hazard and Jovic, there was no Pogba talk, says Mohsen. There wasn't. I don't think so. That's true. You do have a good point. It was. I wouldn't say it was beginning. It was like a quarter way in or something along those lines, but. Yeah, we should have gone for him maybe, in the earlier days when Pogba was saying the kind of stuff that, maybe was pushing for a move. And then Mohsen Hamid says, Mohsen Hamid has said, James has performed every game for us. I'm happy he's back. Yeah, James is it's true. You have a good point that every game that he plays, he does well, and I don't know why Zidane doesn't fancy him. I don't know what's that down to, but it is kind of odd just to see that he's being ostracized from the club. So anyways, for the match preview, obviously, I do want to get to the match a little bit. It is an away game. It's taking place at the Balaídos. It's obviously last season they ended 17th place, so just right above relegation zone, and I believe it's like 4 points away from relegation. So they didn't have a very good season last season. So Celta de Vigo, it could be. We could exploit on this. They're not in their best time, I would say. They were doing very good in the, I believe, 2013 to 2016 is when Celta were really doing fairly well, I'd have to say. And then after that, they finished mid-table, and just last season they finished in relegation spot. So they're not having, they didn't have the best of seasons last season. So hopefully, we can get a win. I know last season we played against them at the Bernabeu. We barely won 2-0. It was a very tough win. Molson says even under Zidane in the 16-17 season, he was great and he was coming off the bench. And we haven't lost the opening game for 9 seasons, I believe. I'm unsure. Hopefully we can replicate that. Hopefully we can replicate that. And yes, under Zinedine Zidane, he was great. I have to say, I really don't understand why Zinedine Zidane really never saw anything, anything in him, I have to say. World Soccer Institute, welcome. Thank you for being on. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So let's see here. So Celta de Vigo obviously have gotten a few new players. They've gotten Denis Suarez, Joseph Aidu. I think I've seen a little bit of him. I think he's a center back if I'm not mistaken. And he looks pretty decent, I have to say. Santi Mina, obviously they got him on a free from Valencia. He played Celta de Vigo before, but now he's gone back to his former club. And then Pape Sheikh, I don't know if I can pronounce his name right. Obviously, I think as Manchester Madrid was saying earlier, Maxi Gomez has gone to Valencia, so that's going to be a big miss. I think he got 13 goals last season, so that's a big miss. Sergio Alvarez, obviously a decent keeper. Claudio Beauvu, which is, I believe, a French player. I believe he played in the French league for a little, came to Celta de Vigo. And then obviously you have Hugo Mayo, which is a right back. So they obviously have a pretty good team. And Mohsen Hamid says, are you confident in us? I think we'll win this one. I think there's a slight possibility that we won't win it. I can see why we might not win it. And, it's still the team's kind of trying to figure out its identity. The team really doesn't know, its identity yet, and that's going to take some time, and that might be, at the expense of some La Liga points, I have to say. So, am I confident? I'm not too confident, I have to say. It's going to be a 6 out of 10, and I think we're going to win 2-1. I think it's going to be barely a win. Not the most confident, as of yet. And then World Soccer Institute says, I hear the Pogba is still very hopeful on a Madrid move. I think Paul Pogba wants to leave. Yes, I have kind of reiterated that, and I think you're right, World Soccer Institute, that he does still want to leave. It's still on his mind, and I think if he doesn't move, it's going to linger on his mind, and I don't think he'll have the best of seasons. I think he still wants to move. And World Soccer Institute says Mino Raiola is expected to meet with Man U about the transfer in the coming days. Well, that's good. Manchester United won't want to let him go. I think that's going to be very, very hard to negotiate with them. But what I have to say about that is I think Paul Pogba is sellable. Obviously, although they're very thin in midfield, is what I have to say about that is that I think Manchester United, if we do offer a lot of money, then they would be willing to listen, I would say. But I would doubt it. I still say 15%, and I'll stick with 15%. I think Real Madrid are still in for Pogba, but I think there's a very, very small percentage that he'll make it at Madrid, or that he'll come to Real Madrid. Mohsen says, I hope we can have a great performance. That's something I miss seeing, honestly. Yeah, me too. When was the last great performance? I mean, it's been about 15 games maybe. It's been too long, yeah. Mohsen says, against Salzburg we were great, but we haven't seen more in the other games. Yeah, against Salzburg we were good. And then for Fenerbahce we weren't that great, actually. Roma, yeah, it wasn't that great. It was only against Salzburg. Yeah, you're right, Mohsen. It was only against Salzburg that we were good. And World Soccer Institute says, I hear Perez has found the funds to Neymar transfer according to Sporting Goal. Very reliable and concrete sources. I'm hearing that too. we'll just have to see. We'll have to be patient with Neymar. I think we'll just have to take it a day at a time. I think this will come it'll take some time, I think, but Real Madrid are still in for Neymar. I have no doubts for that. I just think that Neymar would prefer a move to Barcelona. If it is, if there's no way for Barcelona to make it happen, I think he'll come to Real Madrid. Bienvenido a Ruben Neves in January, says World Soccer Institute. I'm not sure about that, but I think we can get him one day. I think there's no reason why we can't have Ruben Neves one day. And Molson says we're gonna have the same season as last season with Cruz, Modric, and Casemiro with Valverde on the bench. I know, and that's why we need midfielders. Really, I mean, yes, you can bring in Paul Pogba, but I think you need a little bit more than that. I would like to see a little bit more than Paul Pogba. And I've kind of talked about this before, where I would like to see maybe 2 or 3 midfielders, just to help the midfield, I guess, just to help the competition, to get the best out of our current batch of players. Maybe bringing in one midfielder would not be the best answer to this problem. I would say is maybe we need more midfielders, and it's not necessarily that they're worse than Paul Pogba, but I think at the moment we just need a little bit more numbers. Maybe we and yes, Paul Pogba is immense quality, but maybe we just need a little bit more numbers and then quality, than Galactico, I'd have to say. Zaid, hey Zaid, welcome. Thank you for being on. Hey, what's good? I'm joining late. Can you do a quick 30-second summary of what you talked about? Yeah, let me just resume that really quick. So what I had to say is that, yeah, I mean, obviously we're playing Celta de Vigo. It's an away game. It's at the Balaidos. Last season they were not very good, and they've gotten a few players, Dennis Suarez, Aidu, Santi Mina, Cheik, and Maxi Gomez. And Maxi Gomez has departed the club, but they've gotten a few players, and, you have Iago Aspas, Sisto, Hugo Mayo, Claudio Bovu. So they have some pretty good players on their side. Am I confident about the season? I'm not very confident, I have to say, but not about the season, but about this game. I'm not very confident. It's a 6 out of 10 for me, but what I have to say is that I think we'll win. I think it's going to end up being 2-1, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let's see here. Where was I? Dang, the comments are coming quick. Molson says we need more midfield additions and would love to see another CB, but I don't think we'll need to see another CB. Yes, if we are to play this formation, what I think Zidane might just play this season, we have to have another center back. We can't go into this season without another center back if Zinedine Zidane really wants to play this formation consistently. Because, at the moment, you have Nacho only that can come in if someone gets injured. And Nacho is not good enough. Come on, Nacho's not good enough. He's been a great servant, but at the moment, in the present, not good enough. World Soccer Institute says, what's the news on Bruno Fernandes, Van de Beek? Van de Beek, apparently, that move is, I don't know if it's going to happen, and it's not looking very likely just because of his comments about what he had to say about, going to Real Madrid. He says, I think I'm going to end up staying. I think there's a possibility of me staying. And I think the coach corroborated that as well. So I think the coach said something along those lines. I think Van de Beek will stay. So both of them said that. So it just the case with him is just that he might stay at Ajax for another year, which is really weird. Bruno Fernandes, we were linked to him, but I don't think there was any real solid links to him. We'll have to see on the Bruno Fernandes one, but I really don't think there were any real solid links. I haven't seen really nothing on that, I have to say. Gabriel Labonte says Van de Beek said he might stay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Van de Beek said he might stay. I saw that too. Molson said, I had a dream last night. That's cool. That Van de Beek was doing a press conference, but I didn't see if he said he was staying or leaving. That's a good one. Well, man, that sucks. You didn't get the answer, huh? Man, you should have gotten the answer. That would have been a good dream if you heard he was leaving, but staying would have been a nightmare. World Soccer Institute says, I think we need more dribblers in the team. Also, did you hear about the news that Dortmund CEO rejected offers from super clubs? Real Madrid were and are targeting Sancho very heavily. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid are looking at Sancho just because he's doing good in the Bundesliga. Obviously, I'd say he's a youngster. He's promising talent. Obviously he's English, and I'm always apprehensive when it comes to English players. But I think he could be a very good player. But it's early days. It's early days with Sancho. Maybe just give him a couple years and we'll see what happens. But he is looking very good, I have to say. And Real Madrid, yeah, definitely. Why not? Rehan says, I hope one day we can land Conte. Oh, that's a good shout, man. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Me too. I would love to see Conte in the team. He's such a great player, And I think it was versus the Super Cup, right, where I think Chelsea fans were saying that Conte was magnificent. He was he's very good, and he's the reason. I wouldn't say he's the reason why France won the World Cup, but he was a very big part of why France won the World Cup, and he's been imperative in Chelsea's winning of trophies. Conte, Real Madrid. Well, I think we should do it. He'd be. I know Chelsea fans are saying he's our Makelele, but he would be our Makelele too. Makelele I think played for Real Madrid, so yeah, why not? And Rehan said against Liverpool is very good. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Something our midfield lacks. Yeah, exactly. We need that energy in our midfield. I'm not seeing that at the moment. And Casemiro, I mean, maybe this is another player who's, I wouldn't say complacent, but he's won everything that he's needed. And maybe he doesn't have the same drive as someone maybe that N'Golo Kanté would have. And obviously, Kanté or Zidane, French connection, it could work out. I would love to see him with the club, but it could happen. I think Real Madrid have sent scouts, not too long ago. So I think it's possible. Zayed says Aspas gives me nightmares in matches against Real Madrid. I know Iago Aspas is a very good player. Scored 20 goals last season in a season where Celta de Vigo they weren't that great. 17th place, 17th place, and yet Iago Aspas scores 20 goals. I mean, he is a very good player, and I have to give it to him. Even though he flopped at Liverpool in La Liga, man, he's a good player. Mohsen says Conte looked mad after the game. Really? Why? That's weird. World Soccer Institute says, I hear Perez wants to do the impossible and lure Dembele from Barca. Oh, man, that is the impossible. I doubt that's going to happen, but never know, I guess. It could happen, right? I mean, Figo, Real Madrid, Barcelona, you just never know. Mohsen says, I've always liked Alderweireld as backup. He's getting older, though. But, yeah, I guess as a backup, it could make sense, especially, isn't he? Well, he did sign a new contract, actually, so no, he wouldn't be one on a free, but yeah, it could work, but I think Real Madrid can do a little bit better. I mean, he's getting older, I think we should go after someone a little bit younger, just like Eder Militao, something along those lines. Jonas says, Casemiro is finished. I think so, too. I have a feeling that Casemiro won't have the best of seasons with us, and I'm not trying to put him down or anything. It's just he's won a lot. He's in the batch of players that's won a lot of trophies, and the complacency is a big factor, especially if we're going to move forward. I think that it's not that we should get rid of all our players, but we should get rid of a few players. I think the same players will not have the same hunger that the new players will have, that they really want to make their mark at Real Madrid. Mohsen says Conte needs a phone call from Zidane. Yeah, he does. I know, seriously. Zayed says, I really appreciate how you interact with viewers. Yeah, thank you. Actually, no, it's all about you guys, to be honest, at the end of the day. I guess I am the facilitator, but really, no, it's about you guys. You guys always, I do this just because, it's nice to have different opinions, Sometimes, I talk and I give my opinion, but, people on here, they make me change opinions, and it's good to have other opinions, because sometimes, you're in your own little world, you're trying to think of an argument, but then when you talk to other people, then they have different viewpoints, and I really like that, and I think maybe that's why I like the interaction so much. Zaid says, I don't know how to sound like less of a ass hat saying this, but my name is pronounced like Aid, like Zaid at the beginning. Thank you for that. Sorry about that. I'm always trying to pronounce the names right. I'm not very good at that. Bear with me, but Zaid, I think it's Zaid, right? So I will do that. Sorry for that, Zaid. World Soccer Institute says, I don't really see Conte as a replacement for Casemiro because of his age. He's 28 despite his brilliance. That's true. Actually, Conte is the same age as Casemiro. But I feel like Conte is a little bit hungry maybe than Casemiro. Casemiro, he's won everything he's needed to win. And I don't know if this season he'll really come good, but I hope he does. Casemiro is, when he's good, but we'll have to see. Mohsen says, when they were waiting on the pitch, there's a video of Conte looking hella mad. It's all over football Twitter. I'm going to have to take a look at that. That's weird. I didn't even see that. World Soccer Institute says, I think we need to sell Nacho and buy 2 quality young defenders. Good shout. I think I would do that too. I think Nacho has reached the point where it's kind of done at Real Madrid. And not, he's been a great servant. He's come through the youth ranks and everything like that. But maybe it is his time to find a new challenge. And nothing bad. It's just it's time. Sometimes, I know when, I've worked at several places, and I know when things have kind of come to an end. I know when I need to find a new challenge, and maybe Nacho's at that point. Real Madrid fans, I'm not optimistic on this season. We have so many errors and mistakes, especially without new midfielders. What about you? I'm not too optimistic on this season. I know the preseason is very different from the season, but I'm not too optimistic. I've seen the defense; it's a bloody shambles at the back, and I have to say it's. If we are to go this season with the 3-5-2 and we are to go with the same set of defenders, we're not going to win much. We're not going to win much. It's a shambles at the back. Yeah, Militao I think will do a good job, but you can't just depend on Militao. It's about the two other center backs. You have to have two other very, very good center backs if you are to play the 3-5-2. Mostin says, what do you think of Marc Roca from Espanyol? He looks promising. Haven't seen anything of him yet. I'll give him a watch, though. Thank you for letting me know about that. But I'll go give him a watch. Thank you. Conte has 15 lungs, man. Says Gabriel Labonte. Yeah, he does, huh? He does. He's a machine, this guy. Never ending. Mostin says, I'm really excited to watch Real Madrid. The football season being back just brings happiness. But let's go, Real Madrid. Yeah. I think it's good, And despite the lack of optimism, I think it's gonna be nice to see Real Madrid playing once again. Even if it's not looking very optimistic, I like seeing the team play every weekend. I did miss that in the summer, I have to say. And Zaid says, honestly, I disagree with the comment about Casemiro. I think he has his head in the game, but needs a little bit of motivation. Fair point. I think Casemiro, he's only 27. He's still got a little bit of time. It's just about. Can you switch it on? Can you get the best out of him again? And Casemiro on his day, of course, is a great player, but he just needs to. It's just like a light switch. You just need to turn it on. So hopefully we can see the best from Casemiro again. Fair point, Zaid. World Soccer Institute says, I hear if we don't land Neymar. I hear if we don't land Neymar, hopefully we land him. We'll try and target Mane, Mbappe, and Sancho this summer. Goodness me. It's like FIFA. I also heard we were preparing a 130 million bid for Sadio, the legend Mane. Sadio Mane, I had my doubts about him, but I have to say, in the Super Cup, I think he scored the 2 goals. So, especially on the right wing position, why not? Why not just do it? Mostin says we should have gotten Hermoso back as a center back, but Atletico beat us to it, even though we had a buyback clause. I know, yeah, we should have gotten him back, but Atletico, like you said, beat us to it. But it's all right. We can't look back too much. We'll try to look forward. World Soccer Institute says, I also think we're not done in the transfer window. Hopefully we have a lot more to do. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, it's not looking too good at the moment, but I hope we can get more transfer activity done and quite active in this January. Yeah, maybe January could be a good time to get some transfer activity done. Zed says he's a good header of the ball, and I hope they utilize that better this season. He has a good he's a good header of the ball. I remember watching him 13-14 season in the preseason and watching his goal. I think it was versus Chelsea. I can't even remember who it was, but I knew he was going to be good at that, and he has proven me right. And he has a good long shot, and his defensive role is still up to par. Yeah, I agree, definitely. He's got the qualities still, He's not too old, He's 27. But a team is like a machine, I guess it's hard. Yep. A team has, it's not about one player, it's a team, really, especially nowadays, I guess it's hard for midfielders to shine when it's the whole team playing poorly. Yeah, definitely. Mostin says we hardly do any activity in January unless it's young signings. But I can imagine we may do something this season if we fail to do it now. Yeah. If things don't go well in the first half of the season, then I think we will do some transfer activity in the January transfer window. I never think it's never a good time to do transfer activity, just because I don't really like it's the middle of the season. Players, it's always kind of weird. But if we do need to do it, then we should do it. Nice Day says chances of Neymar coming out of 10. I'm sticking with the 4 out of 10. But what I have to say is that there's definitely a possibility. I think Neymar to Real Madrid is still a possibility. But what I have to say to that is if Barcelona cannot do anything with Neymar, then I think he'll come to Real Madrid. Jonas says it was versus Inter. Thank you for that, Jonas. Really appreciate it. Yes, I think it was versus Inter. So thank you for that, Jonas. And then Mohsen Ahmed says, any score predictions for the game? I think it's going to be 2-1. I think we're going to score a couple goals. I'm not, I'm trying to be a little bit pragmatic here. And the reason I say that is because, the team still, although it's a team that, I would say on paper it looks like, it's not similar, but the players are, they do understand each other. They know each other well. You have Hazard and Benzema, who, Benzema obviously on his day is really good, but sometimes he's very bad. And so I don't know if he's going to score goals. And then Hazard, obviously, a very good player, but whether he'll, hit the ground running, we'll just have to see. I mean, preseason we saw this where he hadn't hit the ground running, so we'll have to see with Eden Hazard. But if Eden Hazard can score a goal, great. But other than Benzema and Hazard, where do the goals really come from? So that's why I think it's going to be 2-1, and I think we'll concede just because defensively it's kind of a shambles at the moment. Zed said, I haven't seen Vigo play, to be honest, but I don't expect Madrid to score many goals, maybe 1-1, 2-1 for Madrid. I'm expecting that too. I know we have scored quite a bit of goals against them in the past, but I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be realistic here. I'm not going to be, too pretentious, I guess, for lack of a better word. Let's see here. Is there anything? The only last things I did want to say is that Carvajal suspended. That's why I put Odriozola, obviously. Nothing about Ramos. I don't think Ramos is suspended for the game, so that's why I put Militao, Ramos, and Varane in there in the defensive parts. Obviously, Marco Asensio is injured. You got Mendy that's injured. Rodrigo is injured. Obviously, Rodrigo is playing for Castilla, but he's injured. And then Brahim Diaz has just recovered. I think he's training with the first team now, but he barely just started recovering. So, they're not going to put him out there right away. He's still going to have to train a little bit more. So that's what I have to say about that. And then I'm going to end it pretty soon, guys. It's going to be about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to end it there. But let's see here. Molson says, I'm not sure if our performance will be convincing, but maybe we'll get the job done. I hope we get the job done. I think Real Madrid can get the job done. I think so. I think there's a slight possibility we lose, but I think Real Madrid, they will switch it on. They will switch it on, especially for the first game. I don't think we'll see that from the first game. Mohsen says, like Chelsea used to say, there's so much wrong with the team, but we have Eden Hazard. Excellent point, Mohsen. Very, very good point. That's true. As long as you have Eden Hazard, I mean, yeah, you can essentially, Eden Hazard, that's what he has. He makes, he brings out creativity, and so hopefully we can see that this game, and as long as we have Eden Hazard, maybe there's no problem, right? World Soccer Institute says, I think we need to bring a box-to-box center mid. Also, I think we should try and play on the left and potentially challenge Hazard. He's obviously more adept on the left. Yeah, that could be Vinicius, but for me, I would like to see Vinicius more on the right. I think, his finishing is lacking. I would like to see Vinicius more on the right. I think he has on the left, his left foot is not the greatest, and I know some people are saying that he's better on the left, but for me, I would like to see him better on the right. And, that's just very subjective. That's just very subjective. But Vinicius could be one to challenge on the left, but I think, yes, bringing in someone else could be good. Zed says, Bale appearance. I know. You know what? And I have to say about that, Zed, is that it would not surprise me if we see Bale in this game. And the reason I say that is that Bale brings something different. He's got the world-class, quality. And I think Zinedine Zidane, having Bale as a squad player, it doesn't really bother him to have him as a squad player. We have seen it where Zidane did play him, but he plays him sporadically. He plays him as a squad player, but he doesn't necessarily confide in him, But Bale appearance, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Jonas says, I think Real will win 0-1 and Marcelo to score. That's a good point. I think Marcelo could score in this game. I think it's a definite possibility. He always liked himself a goal. So Rehan says, I feel like Bale deserved to play this game. He has shown in preseason that he's still a threat to opposing defenses. I agree, Rehan. That's a very good point. Bale seems to be, for all the stick that he's gotten, and his Spanish supposedly is lacking, and I don't really care about that. Bale is still a world-class player, and if you have him, in the squad, uninjured, healthy, why not just play him? He's unbelievable talent. You could just see it. He's got talent oozing, and what you saw it when he's come into the games. It's like a breath of fresh air. It just the team looks so much more threatening. I think you have a good point, Rehan. I would love to see Bale in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at least as a substitute. Mostin says, I'm so upset we lost Asensio. Me too. I feel you. I feel you on that one. I feel that we really shaped our approach now in the transfer window, taking the direction of Van de Beek, Eriksen, and yeah, I know that would it would be good to bring in those players. They're midfielders, and we need midfielders. So Van de Beek, Eriksen, something along those lines. I feel like we could bring in something like that. It could regalvanize the midfield. Zed says, John is daring of you to assume we won't concede Alameda. And never know. You never know. 3 at the back is very, very strong. So it's definitely possible. I have to say. Let's see. Asbraf Kazori says, what is your prediction for the match? I think it's going to be 2-1. Asbraf, I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think and I'm going real pragmatically here. I'm not trying to be, ostentatious with my predictions. I'm just going to say 2-1. Mohsen says, we need Bale. He's better for our team. He's better for our team without him. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Bale is a world-class player. Yes, we want Neymar, essentially. But Bale, I don't want to say he's our Neymar, but he is in some way our Neymar. He's a world-class player, injury-prone. Why not just introduce him back into the team? He's a very good player, but Zidane's very stubborn. Zidane's very stubborn. Wilson says Hamas too. Yep, I agree. Jonas says Zed if Real play in this shape, then I think we'll keep a clean sheet. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean 3 at the back, very very strong. If you have 3, Sergio Ramos, Rafael Varane, Militao, I think we could definitely keep a clean sheet. But obviously Real Madrid just like to concede. We'll have to see. Rehan says, I remember back in the day when dropping Bale was impossible. I remember that too. Actually, it was impossible. I guess he was less injury. There was a time where he wasn't as injury prone, and a lot of people were saying, we're hoping that he was going to be, the successor to Ronaldo, and he was going to do all these things. But then you saw the injuries and the injuries and the injuries, and it was just like, well, yeah, it's not going to happen. World Soccer Institute says, let's bring in a cam. Also, I hear Zidane and Perez are very keen on Bayer Leverkusen to start like Kai Havertz next summer. And also, let's bring in at least 2 to 3 midfielders, at least 1 attacker. Yep, 2 to 3 midfielders, completely agree, and 1 attacker. If that's an attacker, then I would say the right wing. Maybe even if it's just for a season, because Kubo's looking good at the moment. He, could be ready next year. I think, if he gets loaned out or something along those lines, he could be ready next year. You have Odegaard coming up, obviously, Brahim Diaz. Maybe that could solve the right-hand situation to some extent. But, yeah, that's a good point, World Soccer Institute. And Real Madrid fan says Bale, depending on resignation of Zidane. I have seen that too. I mean, Bale's looking far into the future if he's depending on that. But it's definitely a possibility. A lot of people are just writing Zidane off like nothing. And I'm not going to say it's impossible. Real Madrid, are ruthless. They think about the present. They think, what's going on in the present moment. And if Zidane is not doing well at the present moment, then yeah, maybe he just might be sacked in, just a few weeks. And of course, I wouldn't like to see that. Like I said, I will bag Zidane almost until the very end, unless he does something crazy. But I don't think so. I'll try to back him till the very end. He's won us so many trophies. Let's see. World Soccer Institute says how we're going to fit Neymar and Hazard into the same lineup. Is Neymar going to play on the right? He might not perform on the right. That's if we sign him. We could play him. I know that's a difficult one, and obviously we could play 4-4-2. The 4-4-2 hasn't worked that well. I mean, we could play him as striker. We could play him on the right wing potentially. You could have Neymar on the right wing, and potentially, they can the wingers can kind of interchange, the striker can interchange or something along those lines. But it's a difficult one. How do you fit Neymar into the team? But Real Madrid are notorious for that. They just get world class players, and it's up to the manager to figure out some way of fitting it into the team. So. You know how Real Madrid are sometimes. I'm going to end it in 2 minutes, guys. Just want to let you guys know, 2 minutes, and then I'll end it. But like I said, thank you guys for being on so much. Really appreciate it. Molson says Bale has had great moments for us over the years, but honestly, he's had one best full season for us when he signed 13-14 season. Yep, exactly. And Bale's more of a moments player. He's one that'll deliver in the biggest moments. And if you can have him as a squad player, and bring him in those moments where you need him. Great. I think that's a good thing. If you don't want to depend on Bale is what I have to say. You never want to depend on Bale, but if you can bring him here and there, great. He will be an amazing player like that. And Molson says Hazard in the number 10 role and Neymar on the left, or Hazard left and Neymar right. Something like that could work. Obviously Benzema, he is a little bit inconsistent, and maybe he's having something like that could be good. Molson, good point. And then when the day comes when we get Pochettino, it's over for everyone. Yeah, exactly. Real Madrid fan says, why are we going for Neymar? If we had the money, we should go for Pogba. That's very strange. Yeah, I mean, we do need midfielders. I feel like we need more midfielders than striker. I think Jovic will come good, Obviously, Benzema's dwindling down. You have Mariano. You have, Eden Hazard. You have Vinicius. I mean, maybe we should go for midfielders, but I don't know. Neymar really is maybe the bigger name, and that's why Real Madrid are going after him, I don't know. It is kind of weird, though. I'm going to end it there, guys. That's pretty much the end. Tomorrow prediction, 2-1, I think. I think it's going to be this formation to my right-hand side. Is it for right-hand side for people watching? Yeah, right-hand side. And that's what I think the formation will be. I think we'll have to see, obviously, tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow. But let's see here. Real Madrid fan says, oh yeah, yeah. Mohsen says, when will you do your next stream, David? Tomorrow I'm going to do another stream. It's going to be at same time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's going to be the Zidane press conference. I'm going to be addressing that. I'm just going to be going over the stuff really quick and just talking about it. And, just explaining pretty much the content of the press conference. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you, Real Madrid fan. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good time. Thank you. You too. Take care. Jonathan says, right, let's hope Barcelona loses tomorrow. Definitely. Always. Take care, David. After the game, right? Yes, that's true. I will do the match reaction right after the game on Saturday. I will be doing that for sure. Sometimes I won't be able to do it, and I'll always let you guys know. But thank you for telling me that. I really appreciate it. So on Saturday, I will do the match reaction right after the game. Be on the lookout for that. Bye, Rehan. Thank you for being on. Really appreciate it. Goodbye, David. Looking forward to the next video. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Mohsen Hamid says, you missed my comment at the top. Please read about the jerseys. I think I see it. Do you have any of the jerseys? You should do a review or unboxing video. I don't yet. I'm trying to think of which one I should buy, but I'm probably going to end up buying one. What I'm thinking actually is I'm thinking about Brahim Diaz. I think I might buy that jersey, or who's the other player that obviously I wanted to buy Kubo, but Kubo I think is in Castilla right now, so I don't know if I should buy that one. But Brahim Diaz is I'm thinking about that one, but I'll have to see. But I'll probably buy one. I'll probably buy one. I do have a couple of jerseys, but they're old jerseys, so that's why I never wear them. But all right, guys, I'm gonna end it there. That's all I have to say. Sorry, Mohsen. I missed it earlier. But I'm going to end it there, guys. Like I said, thank you guys so much for being on. I really appreciate it. Mohsen says, I have Hazard away. Good. I think Hazard will come good. I know a lot of people are, they're not sure about him. But, yeah, good job. I think Hazard will come good. It's definitely a nice jersey, that one. And Mohsen says, take care. Take care. You too, Mohsen. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you, Rehan, so much. And thank you to everyone. Really appreciate it.